As we all know, the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee isn't perfect, and it's impossible for them to be perfect. But what that means is that there are seeding inefficiencies. Sometimes teams have much lower seeds than they should based on their actual on-court performance. So, with that being said, let's take a look at the 5 most undervalued, underseeded, and underrated teams in this year's Big Dance. One of the most talked about underseeded teams this year is Wisconsin, who, despite getting into the Big Ten championship and finishing tied for second in the conference, ended up as an 8 seed. And that's the 5th lowest seed among Big Ten teams in the tourney. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. For more reasons than just that, too. According to numberFire's nerd metric, which determines the number of points we'd expect a team to win by against an average one on a neutral court, Wisconsin was the 22nd best team in college hoops this past year with a nerd of 14.69. Among the 5 Big Ten schools in the tournament, that's second best to Purdue. Needless to say, they're underrated. Coming in at the 4 spot is 5-seeded Virginia, a team with a 17.31 nerd rating, which is 9th best in all of college basketball. 5 seeds have historically had a nerd of 13.01, meaning Virginia is well over 4 points per game better than the ordinary 5 seed. Over 43% of 12 seed versus 5 seed games in the first round have seen the 12 seed winning over the last 15 years, but it'd be surprising if Virginia was upset this year given their strong season-long performance. At number 3, we've got a team not a lot of folks are talking about in West Virginia, who's a lot better than people are giving them credit for. They ended up tied for second in the Big 12 this year, and each of their 8 losses came with a single-digit margin, with 3 of their defeats coming in overtime. And they lost to really good competition, too. In essence, WVU is a better team than what their 4 seed suggests. With a nerd of 18.64, numberFire's power rankings actually have them ranked 5th in all of college basketball. Next, we've got Oklahoma State. It's true that the Cowboys are entering the tournament after suffering 3 straight losses, and back in January, they went on a 6-game losing streak. But as a 10 seed, Oklahoma State is underseeded based on their overall performance. The typical 10 seed in tournament history has had a nerd of 10.30, while Oklahoma State's nerd is a little over 15, which far surpasses that value. The problem is that they'll be facing another underseeded team in Michigan in the first round, so they could still see an early exit. And last but not least, we've got the Wichita State Shockers, another 10 seed who's vastly underrated in this year's tournament. As noted with Oklahoma State, the average 10 seed has historically seen a nerd rating of 10.30. Wichita State's is 17.27, which actually ranks 10th best in all of college basketball. In fact, the difference between Wichita State's nerd and the standard 10-seed nerd is the second largest positive gap our numbers have seen since the year 2000, meaning they're the second most underrated team in the NCAA tournament we've seen over this time. They've got a potential tough second-round matchup against Kentucky, but don't be shocked if the Shockers make some noise this year. For more March Madness news and analysis, be sure to check out numberFire.com.